Moving on to our next session, I would like to now invite Sujith Vijayan, the technical lead at Hitachi Vantara, unveiling the Hitachi Vantara Road to Hybrid Cloud. Sujith is an APAC technical expert lead converged solutions at Hitachi Vantara with an overall IT experience of 22 years across businesses like ITS, telco, banking, and with Hitachi Vantara for more than 15 years, verticals like ITS, telco, banking, etc. He leads the APAC technical team for business critical application and converged solutions, enabling enterprise to achieve business IT initiatives. Over to you, Sujith. Sujith is a very enlightening and a very interactive speaker. It would be a pleasure to listen to him again today. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sujith.
On? No. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, am I clear? Am I audible to the last row? Oh, good, thanks. Thanks, Vinu, for that short intro. Okay, that's nice. Good to hear. Okay, so we had a enlightenment with all the panelists what we've got in terms of understanding what customers are looking at in the present world, in their IT landscape, in terms of making their organizations data driven. There are multiple topics touched upon in between. So basically in terms of infrastructure, second in terms of data governance, data reliability, how do you protect the data, is it done? How do you protect the data, and then what kind of solutions do we have to understand or rather to offer to our customers in terms of onboarding their data journey, right? Now, when we spoke about different aspects of data, one of the most important aspect of data is in terms of where is your data residing, right? And how your applications that are using those set of data what you got are able to utilize the data and in terms of using the data to drive certain initiatives from an enterprise standpoint, right? At Hitachi, we follow a strategy called SEAM. SEAM stands for store, enrich, activate and monetize. So first and foremost thing is basically to understand how do you store the data, the solutions behind it, how do you enrich the kind of data what you got in your enterprise, activate them, and how do you use it for monetizing them for your business initiatives, right? Now, one of the most important thing which comes in any enterprise when we talk about initiatives is the adoption of one important aspect, which is cloud, right? This cloud has multiple definitions or multiple roles. People call it with multiple names. Cloud is, if I ask somebody to define cloud, a simple definition of a cloud is nothing but a data center, right? Data center which is not visible to you where your infrastructure is. That's what is cloud. Everything which is served by a normal data center is served by a cloud, right? So we have public cloud, multiple names as I said, private cloud, hybrid cloud. So what we did is this was a survey which was done last year in terms of understanding what enterprises are looking up to in terms of adoption of cloud. Now if you look at the result on to my right hand side, you have a report which says how many people are using private, public and hybrid kind of a thing. So if you look at on the right, 24% of the survey, the enterprises said that I am fully into a public cloud and entire my data, my application, everything is sitting in public cloud and I'm good with it. That is 24% public cloud fully. Second is basically 4% onto the right. 4% of people are only on private. When I say private, everything is within their organization, within their data center. They have zero presence or zero consumption of any services which is outside their office premises or enterprises. They are very clear. I don't want to go onto cloud. Everything will be secured and within my organization. But if you look at the middle portion, you got a 72% of customers or enterprises using both. When I say both, it is public as well as private. They call it as a hybrid model. So it's a consumption from a cloud services standpoint, both on-premise and public as and when required. As and when required is based on certain business initiatives what they've got. So there are 74% of customers using hybrid as an approach. Right? Now if you still look at drill down further in terms of hybrid where you have multiple cloud presence, there are majority of people having more than one cloud usage. You've got multiple hyperscalers, you've got AWS, Azure, GCP, everywhere. And on top of that, we have all these cloud services provided everywhere. So customers, more and more customers are using more than one cloud services today. For certain needs, I mean, there's nothing wrong in it, but for certain needs, they're using multiple clouds, right? Now, do you think all this is good? Do you have any challenge? And anybody can bring out certain challenges having these clouds or these strategies, but what customers are using it? Anybody to voice it?
Cost of the cloud.
Cost, good. Anything else? Security. What else? Sorry? Security. I mean, privacy, security. What else? Sorry? You can in a way call it as risk, security, privacy.
Downtime.
Complexity, yes. Downtime. Okay, it's debatable.
Large data transfer.
It's again adding to cost. Exit strategy, yes. Ease of access is good, so that's not a challenge. I mean, some people would say it is easy to access. Resources, very good. Resources in terms of maintaining those infrastructure with us, right? So let's see what the survey talks. The survey says top 5. Did it fill in all the answers? You got cost on top, then you got security, all the risk, everything. Then you got lack of resource, somebody said expertise, right? How do we manage such kind of environments? You've got on-premise environments to manage, you've got private cloud or public cloud 1, public cloud 2, 3, everybody is different, this is not same. Everybody is different. So it was very difficult for having or onboarding expertise for enterprises to manage them. So these are all difficulties. I mean, there are many of them, but top 5 are those. One of the important thing is compliance. It was very difficult for customers to identify what can they move onto their public clouds, right? Risk is, I mean, as somebody said risk. What is the risk involved in moving the data to public cloud? Does it get stolen? We don't know where it is. If it is a private cloud, I know where it is. It is residing in my data center. No, I've got security access. I can go get it. But if it is not known where it is sitting, it is a risk. Of course, I'm not saying cloud is risky, but still, there is a risk, right? Now, as Hitachi Vantara, we have certain views or rather focuses in terms of helping customers in terms of adopting a strategy for their enterprise which is more beneficial to them, at the same time understanding what kind of risk they can take, what are the kind of solutions which is required for enhancing their IT landscape. Now these are certain things which is classified under 4. For the first pillar is modernize or modern cloud infrastructure. So the solutions around the solutions for storing the data, enriching, as I said, all those things comes into modern IT infrastructure, which gives you the flexibility of scalability, resilience. All those aspects are covered in this pillar. The next is basically modernizing their applications. Now one is the infrastructure that needs to be modernized. Second is the application what they are using day to day for their own use or for their customers. How do we modernize them and make it modern from a application modernization standpoint? The solutions with respect to that. The solutions with respect to cloud extension. How do you make your current infrastructure which is on-premise be more connected or more closer to the public cloud presence? If at all I need to consume a particular application which is sitting in a public cloud, how do I move the data, or probably how do I bring the data from public cloud down under? The last one is basically the edge to core to cloud kind of a connectivity where solutions which are used from the edge locations, how do you move the data or basically the mobility of data from on-premise handheld devices or the laptop end user devices to your core, which is basically a data center, in case you want to move across to public clouds or across multiple public clouds. So these are the solutions. The four main focus: infrastructure, application, extension, and edge to core to cloud. These are the four pillars. Let's try and understand one by one. Okay, so if you look at the infrastructure portfolio of what Hitachi Vantara can offer to our customers, right from the bottom is basically the storage portfolio, where you have, depending on the type of data, so data types like structured, unstructured, semi-structured, so there are certain specific solutions that is there to a particular set of or type of data. So you got block storages, you got file storages, or you got object storages to offer. Now these are from a storage standpoint. Now how do you manage them is basically using a software layer called Hitachi Ops Center. I'll go deep down into it in subsequent slides. So these are the basic storage solutions what we've got. Combined with the next set of solution is the compute standpoint. So the compute solutions what we have is to have the application in mind in terms of what we want to build for the customers. Is it like a private cloud? Is it extending the private cloud to a public cloud? What kind of solutions that is required is covered that. Now, what are we trying to achieve? We are trying to achieve initiatives for our customers which are broadly classified into, say, hybrid cloud model or a private cloud or anything like a mission critical industrial applications requirement, or for that matter anything from a data analytics. We've got a huge debate today in terms of data analytics. So to do everything is good, but to do all those data analytics and derive the outcomes out of it, you need a robust platform, the infrastructure layer. So all these things can be made available from Hitachi solutions. Now, from a storage standpoint, let me put certain names with respect to what you got as a solutions. Now, when we say Hitachi storage solutions, we have a storage solution family called VSP, Virtual Storage Platform, VSP. VSP has got multiple flavors of it. Starts from mid-range, low-end, mid-range, and then it goes up to high-end systems. Now, when I say mid-range and high-end system, basically talks about the performance it can deliver to the application set which is hosted on that. Right? It can go up to a maximum of 33 million IOPS from a storage standpoint. I'm saying the maximum or the enterprise class storage, which is called as VSP 5600. Right? There are certain performance characteristics like response time. So these solutions are all NVMe systems, the NVMe based storage subsystem, which can give you a latency or the minimum latency of 40 microseconds. So these are certain performance characteristics of individual storage subsystem which can give. Apart from that, we all talk about sustainability in terms of reducing the carbon footprint. We have certain guarantees that we can offer to a customer in terms of data efficiency. 2:1 is a guarantee that we can give to customers by default. That means any system what you buy from Hitachi, 2:1 data efficiency is already guaranteed, right? Apart from that, we've got certain one of the important aspect or quality or function within our data storage is storage virtualizations. Today, customers have acquired multiple technologies in their data center for various reasons. Could be acquisition, could be the time at which when they wanted to invest. They have multiple storage subsystems or multiple controllers. It becomes very difficult to manage them all. So storage virtualization is one quality within Hitachi virtualization VSP, which is basically the storage platform, which can virtualize all these storage platforms, the different storage platforms, be it NetApp or Dell or anybody for that matter, virtualize them all and present to you as one single large storage, and you can manage it. So you need not individually manage those systems. That's called storage virtualization. So like that, that is one important aspect. Second is basically how do we address certain resiliency or availability commitments using 2DC or a 3DC kind of replications possible. So today we can proudly say that we have the maximum number of 3 data center solutions for most of the banks in India. All these 3 data center solutions run on storage platform which is VSP, and it is deployed in 3 different data center with a zero downtime. Right? That means when I say zero downtime, if at all there is a failure at one site, you can recover your data in an alternate site almost seamlessly. And if it's a third site, you can always get it back with zero data loss. Right? So that's from a storage standpoint. Now what are we enhanced in storage is basically we brought out a feature called scale out. So today you have invested into a 2 controller system with a 2 controller. Now your workload expands or rather increases. How do you scale out using or preventing from a new buy? That means you have your new existing storage subsystem available, and at the same time you can scale out by incremental upgrade of the same system. So that means you can have starting from 2 node system way up to 65 appliances, which is around 130 controllers. So the flexibility what it gives is today your applications is residing on, say, suppose on one system, and if at all you have multiple controllers, which is Hitachi controllers, you can simply move these applications based on your need. Right, from one storage subsystem to another storage subsystem seamlessly. When I say seamlessly, the applications would not even know the data is getting moved from one to other. Right? Now, if there is a hybrid kind of a storage you've got, basically using certain NVMe drives or you have some spinning drives, how can you do that? You can move your applications within the tiers. You have tier 1 as NVMe, tier 2 as SAS or NLSAS. You can move your applications seamlessly. Your application users would not even know that the data is getting moved across tiers or across controllers. Right? The next enhancement what we have done is basically we have brought up a new storage which is basically a software defined storage. We call it as VSSB, virtual storage for block, which is basically a software defined storage using industrial drives within the server. You created a virtual fabric out of it and start using it for your block usages. Right? Further enhancing that is basically move that VSSB onto a public cloud. Right? It could be in a standalone system, used as a standalone application, or it could be used as a private cloud, or it can be even extended to a public cloud. That means I can host my storage in AWS cloud itself. What is the advantage? I have the same architecture deployed across multiple locations. I don't need to have multiple resources onboarded to manage my different clouds. It's the same thing, right? Now another advantage is basically when I spoke in the beginning that CSP, cloud service providers. So if you have an on-premise presence in terms of data center, you want to build a resiliency by having a DR setup done, right? So you would want to have another data center. You may not want to invest into a data center. You can probably simply consume capacity or space from a cloud service provider. But now the challenge is cloud service provider might have a different storage altogether. So it is very difficult for you to manage both. So to solve that problem, we have the same VSP that can be installed in a CSP location and then use it for your DR locations. Further, it can be extended to a public cloud. Tomorrow, if you want to move to public cloud, we already have the VSSB system in public cloud. You can streamline your data or replicate your data from on-premise to a CSP to a public cloud. So those are certain enhancements what we have done over a period of time.
So this is like a broker kind of thing which converts the other system to storage.
Okay, there is no broker here. There is no data conversion.
So storage you have an agent, right?
No. It's basically my storage sitting in CSPs.
Those are setting, but what I'm saying, what they have infrastructure, they are different.
That's just different. Yes.
Right? You are trying to know a software there which will mimic as if you have this storage there.
My own storage there. That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
what-
That's correct. Yes.
Kind of, kind of broker kind of interface or
I would not use the word broker for that. but you got what I was trying to convey. Yes, thanks for that. Any other question? Let me take a pause. That was a good question, Budho. Okay, so we spoke about different models of storage subsystem. We have got the VSP, VSPE series, all NVMe hybrid, all those things. This fine. But do we have a software to manage them all? Right? Do we have a software? The answer is yes. We call it as Hitachi Op Center. Right? Op Center is basically a suite of products. It's a suite of products which has got 4 different products within that, which is basically an analyzer, then automator, data protector, and there's one more. I'll come there. So it's a suite of product which is used for multiple use case. First and foremost thing is, this is a single software to manage all the storage aspects within the data center. Now, how is it doing? We have onboarded the AI capability or a machine learning capability within the software. What it does is, this piece of software keeps track of what is happening in the entire data center landscape. When I say entire data center landscape, it keeps track of starting from the application, the servers, which is the compute system, the hypervisor, the networking element, which is the SAN and the Cisco Ethernet networking, and at the same time the storage layer. And within the storage as well, multiple components within the storage layer, be it the front end, be it the disk, be it the memory, which is the cache, be it the processor. All these aspects will be continuously monitored, and it creates a repository within itself. Using those data sets, it can do certain things like predictive analytics. That means if my system is working this way, what could be the predictive performance down the line 6 months, how it will be? Or if there is something like a performance problem, how can I identify? This piece of software lets you know where the problem is. I think the next slide, this is basically an end-to-end view which talks about the applications, the VMs, the SAN switches, the storage, where it is lying. It can do bottleneck analysis as well. So in the entire topology where the problem could be or where the problem is, it can give you alert in terms of identifying certain challenges within your data center topology or the application topology. Right? It can, as I said, it can also predict. So we all spoke about AI. So what we did is we took that AI as a concept, put it into the application, which is Op Center, and we are trying to get benefits out of it. Right? So, for example, let me give an example. So if there is a performance problem, one of your applications is going down, how many support calls do you log? There's a question to you, anybody. How many support calls do you log if there's a problem with the application? Multiple? One call? That's it? You'll call only one vendor? Correct. So majority, many times what we have seen is minimum of 4 calls. Minimum. First of all, we'll call your application guy, your application is going down or it's slow. Right? Second, you raise a call with your compute teams because your virtualization is slow, because the application will say my application is good. Next call goes to a virtualization layer. Next call goes to infrastructure, which is this SAN switches, or for that matter network based on the application. Last one would be the storage, or rather the first one will be the storage why your application is not working. Right? So if I give you an engine which says your probable cause of problem could be this. I'm not saying it is, but it will point you to the area where the problem could be. That's the advantage what I'm getting through that AI ML operations what I have within the software. Right? So it makes your life easy in terms of understanding where the problem could be. Right? Any questions? it is actually running on real-time data, but your predictive analytics is actually based on previous data, right? If there is a, say suppose there is a failure, I'm just giving an example, one controller fail or something, it will immediately detect. Of course, there are certain other tools as well, which is used for support ticket, logging a support ticket with our support organization to replace those faulty parts, but this can also do it. Good one. Now that was from a storage standpoint, what solutions we have from a storage only kind of a thing, where in terms of what are the type of storage, what are the features, what we have seen zero RTO kind of a solution. We've got 3 days data center. Now that was all storage. Now let's go one step above, where using the storage landscape or using the other technologies what we have got from a partner standpoint, what solutions can we offer to our customers. The next set of solutions is categorized under UCP. UCP stands for Unified Compute Platform, right? Unified Compute Platform is basically a combination of compute, storage and networking along with the management suite as a one single solution to you. Suppose you want to have a solution, I'm just giving an example. You want a solution for say SAP. You want to build a SAP HANA system. SAP HANA system has got three components. One is the SAP application, which is the database. Then you got your compute, then you got the networking, and then you got the storage, which is where your SAP is residing. Everything comes as one single solution, right? That's an example. So we have categorized the UCP solution into 3 buckets. One is UCP CI, UCP HC, and UCP RS, right? So how do you define them? So when you look at the left hand side, there's a red mark indicating flexible. When I say flexible, this architecture gives you a flexibility to scale your compute, your networking, your storage independently. That's the way. That's how that category is termed, flexible. The second one is simple. Simple is basically for customers who wants to start small. Right? He did not want to do everything at one shot. We want to start small. We partner with VMware very strongly, which is a software-defined storage called vSAN. We partner with VMware to give you that simple approach where you have the hyper-converged nodes, which is VMware certified hyper-converged nodes, to build your application stack. The third one is Agile. When I say Agile, the same. Agile is basically an approach to mix both of them. Mix flexible and simple together and build for a certain use case, like creating a private cloud for you, right? All your applications can be resided in a private cloud kind of an environment. We use UCP RS as a stack. So based on your application set, we recommend the relevant stack for hosting your applications. Say suppose, as I said, SAP HANA can be a good fit for converged. If it is like an application, web application servers, I might recommend you a vSAN storage. Or if it's a private cloud, I might recommend you an RS. Right? That's how we've classified. Now on top of that, again, the management software is called UCP Advisor. So everything to do with from a management standpoint, the UCP Advisor does. UCP Advisor interacts with the previous software called OpsCenter for storage. It even interacts with the compute systems for all the compute management. All the lifecycle activities of the infrastructure will be taken care by UCP Advisor. Now, I'm all the time talking about cloud, right? Do you see customers onboarding cloud at once? No, right? So they start small and gradually they build towards the cloud adoption. Now to start with, we can help customers to consolidate their server infrastructure or their compute infrastructure using UCP CI, which is nothing but a converged infrastructure. You have compute and external storage, and then the virtualization storage on top of it, we can consolidate them. Some customers have already done that, right? Some customers have already done that. The next step is basically to consolidate their storage landscape. The storage landscape can be consolidated using UCP HC, which is the hyper-converged solution, and we can consolidate them. At the same time, there is one more important aspect within the data center, apart from compute and storage? What could be that? Network, right? So we help customers by virtualizing the network as well using a software called NSX from VMware. Along with that, we have the pack of softwares coming from VMware, which is called as VMware Cloud Foundation, to build a private cloud for them. And the combination of external storage and the vSAN storage together will help customers to build a private cloud. Right. Now these private clouds are, okay, let me go one step back. Now, if I say this is private cloud, would you accept? Would you accept this is private cloud? Or anything is missing? Yes, that's there. That's part of the networking piece of that. What else is? If I say this is cloud, one important aspect is missing. Why do people go on cloud? Sorry? Availability, plug and play. That's all given in this. It's all there. Scalability is also given there. You can scale that. What else? How do you pay? Pay per use, right? So you pay for what you consume, right? So if I say this is private cloud, you will ask me, should I invest everything on day one? Right? No. I have a flexible consumption model, which is basically a financial model. We call it as Everflex. This allows you to consume the infrastructure, whatever I said, it allows to consume the infrastructure as per your usage. Right? So there might be certain minimum commits that we discuss and agree upon, and then from there it is flexible. You go up, you only pay for the incrementals apart from the minimum commit what you got. There's a scale up and a scale down as well. That means you go up, you pay more, you come down, you pay less. Yes, sir. Very valid question, sir. Now, this can be done in two ways. Either it can be installed at the customer's location or any cloud service provider or any third party location which is managed by us, not by you. We take the full ownership of the infrastructure. You would only consume the application or the capacity. Like infrastructure as a service or an application as a service, you would consume, and you would only pay for that. Colo, yeah, Colo is one good option. Yes, why not? Yes, good question.
So what is the, go that route? Is there what is the difference in the amount of expenses, right? Either you go all cloud,
yes,
public cloud,
right?
Or you say that now within public cloud now I have to have a private cloud.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
That's Colo.
Colo is that? Yeah, I got what you're saying. Okay. Now the math has to be there. That means when I say the TCOs has to be there when I propose this. If there is TCO not there, customers would not agree. The amount of price costing what you're going to pay to pure public cloud vendors vis-a-vis what you're going to pay for this, you will see a difference. There's a substantial benefit what we offer to our customers. Otherwise, this solution will not fly. Will not fly.
So people, I know a lot of people who would like to go to, who went actually and then
came back.
Realized.
Absolutely. So there are two aspects of it. One, it not only solves the previous problems what we spoke in terms of risk, compliance, all those things. That is owned by Hitachi in terms of data governance, what the necessary softwares to be put in behind that to govern the data, protect the data. All those things is owned by Hitachi. At the same time, it gives you a peace of mind for customers that they are only using what they want and paying for what they want. All the remaining aspects are also covered here. They are not paying for the data centers. Of course, there's a data center cost involved, but they are not having their own data center to manage. Manageability is reduced. The operational cost is reduced for the customer. Now, when you say cost comparison, definitely there is a better TCO in this.
No, No, but there is what happens to the extra capacity that is
Reserve.
reserve, whatever reserve.
You would not be charged on reserve.
No, but what do you do with the reserve category? Do you
But I was coming to that. Now, when you go to cloud, can you say the infrastructure is used only for you? No. That's where the reserve comes in. So I can use that infrastructure for serving various other customers as well. Whereas in this place, in this approach, it's entirely dedicated to you.
Yeah, but that's
Right?
actually-
I will not be using this resource, extra resource to serve somebody else. The risk from a infrastructure sharing is removed, and at the same time, I'm not charging you. It is my business to maintain it for your scalability requirements. So tomorrow, if you want to scale up, I can't go and get this from factory and install it and give it to you. I keep it as reserve. Normally 10 to 15% of the infrastructure is kept as reserved for your consumption. Does it answer?
So this would, the way it looks like it would be a little more expensive than the pure cloud, right?
See, there is a commitment from a performance standpoint. Do you get a performance commitment from?
It's for the machine operation
Machine is on our books.
or your
Yeah. Make sense? Shall I send you a proposal to you, sir? Rather lighter side. Okay, good. So, MFlex, that's the offering what we have for consumption-based model. Now, what can you run on this? You can run all your traditional workloads. At the same time, you consume the same infrastructure for modern workloads as well, which is basically the containers of the world. So, this is purely on-premise, or rather for the customer, it is like their own data center. If you want to consume certain applications or certain services which are available in public cloud, how do I do that? Say suppose for some reason I want to move the application, one set of applications to public cloud for some reason. How can I do that? Can I do that? The answer is yes. This architecture allows you to extend your applications or data from the on-premise onto a public cloud using HCX of your choice. This public cloud of your choice is, you can consume capacity or services from any of them. You can move your data across. It is VMware S6. So the entire solution, the construct of the solution is built along with VMware Cloud Foundation, and we extend it to public clouds as well. Okay? I don't get questions from that side. Okay, I need more questions. Good. So, as I said, UCP Advisor is basically a infrastructure lifecycle management, which takes care of all the compute, storage, networking with respect to lifecycle. Can somebody tell me what is lifecycle management? Anybody? What is lifecycle management? You should know what I'm talking.
start end of
Okay.
how procure.
No, not that. Not
The
that.
life cycle is there in everywhere.
From an infrastructure life. Sorry.
Installation to decommission.
Provisioning to decommission. Good. That's a highest this thing. But if you drill down a bit, you do a lot of activities on the infrastructure, like code upgrades, right? Like configuration backups, configuration changes. All these aspects of lifecycle management from an infra layer is done by UCP Advisor. But somebody said software lifecycle, right? You said software lifecycle. That is done by software lifecycle management, or rather lifecycle management from VMware itself. We have something called SDDC manager. That's a term which is called as SDDC manager. That takes care of anything from a hypervisor and above. From an infrastructure and below, UCP Advisor takes care. Right? Good. That was all from a first pillar. Second pillar is basically modernizing their applications, modernizing customers' applications. So, from an application modernization standpoint, there is something called 6 R's. Is it 6 or 5? 5 R's, sorry. 5 R's. Right? There are multiple approaches to modernize your applications. Right? So, all of you heard containers. Anybody familiar with not familiar with containers? Containers? Kubernetes, right? Okay, right. When I say Kubernetes, you are then nodding. Sorry for that. So there are 5 methodologies in terms of modernizing their the customer's application. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. So one of them is retire, retain, rehost, replatform, or build or refactor again. When we look at the adoption of application modernization, majority of customers fall in this bracket. It is 60 to 70%. Rehost or migrate to a public cloud from their on-premise data centers, or replatform it. Use containers or adopt containers as a strategy to modernize or rebuild their applications. Right? These are the methods that our customers are using. Now, what do we as Hitachi Vantara to offer to customers? So we have a platform which is basically a UCP platform, which gives you a flexibility of choice. When I say flexibility of choice, as I said, we partner with VMware for almost all our solutions. So from an application modernization as well, we have a solution which is dedicated for VMware Tanzu. VMware Tanzu is the Kubernetes engine which is provided by VMware. Likewise, the Kubernetes engine provided by Red Hat is called as OpenShift. So the same infrastructure what we have spoken earlier can be used for adopting any of them. For that matter, any Kubernetes engine, irrespective of the names what I just said, any Kubernetes engine, for SUSE or for that matter anybody, can interact with our storage platform for persistent volumes. Right? So containers are of 2 types. One is persistent, the other one is non-persistent. Majority of containers are non-persistent. That means even if the container goes down and another container comes in, that there is no impact to your data, because it doesn't store any data. It just comes up, serves a purpose and goes off. But whereas consistent or the persistent containers are which writes data onto a storage. Now Hitachi has provided a plugin called HSPC. I mean, you will find a lot of acronyms in Hitachi. We also get confused. So HSPC stand for Hitachi Storage Plugin for Containers. Yes, I got it. So Hitachi Storage Plugin for Containers. That's the plugin what is used for accessing the persistent storage layer. The persistent storage layer would be VSP, or it could be a NAS filer, which we call it as HNAS. So multiple options, or for that matter, you have object storage that can be used. Right? These are the plugins. Now what is this HRPC, Hitachi Replication Plugin for Containers? That means if you have a primary data center, you got a disaster recovery site, you want to have the same container ecosystem built there, you need to move your data or replicate your data there. So that's the container plugin which is used for replicating that. So if at all you have any initiatives in terms of modernizing your applications or onboarding Kubernetes in your data center, we have a solution to offer to you. Please leverage that. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's move to the last slide. Let me build up the slide for you first. Now we spoke about object block storage, we spoke about NAS filers what we've got. One of the important aspect in the overall data strategy is the type of data, which is structured versus unstructured. Can anybody give me the percentage in an enterprise? What could be the amount of or the percentage of data which is structured and unstructured? What could be the percentage? Anybody? Structured versus unstructured. You understand structured, unstructured, right? What could be the percentage? 70 is? 70 is unstructured. Yes. So, but somebody might differ saying that no, my data is almost 80% structured. Possible. If you're a bank, you will say, okay, my statement of records are much higher than my unstructured data. But in a bank, typically, I mean, I may not be the expert to say that, but typically the KYC documents are all unstructured, remaining are all structured. As I said, I'm not an expert to comment. Depending on the industry, majority is unstructured. So one of the other aspects is in terms, I mean, the panelists spoke is basically data governance, data security, right? So when we store a particular data, there might be certain governance requirement to store it for a long period of time, retention policies. So there are certain, again depending on environment, what kind of retention policies are there. So there are multiple aspects of storing the data. Object storage is one kind of storage which helps you address all these aspects. The aspects with respect to data governance, the aspects with respect to resiliency, retention, all those aspects, right? So we have a solution called HCP, which is nothing but which is called as HCP, which is a Hitachi content platform, which is nothing but an object storage solution for all your unstructured data requirements. Now, complementing that, we've got other solutions which we call it as edge to core to cloud. Which falls under the edge to core to cloud pillar. We have something called HCP Anywhere Edge, which is nothing that. Okay, how many of you heard about Dropbox? You've been using Dropbox? This is an equivalent of Dropbox for your data center alone. When you say Dropbox, you are again going outside your data center premise and going to public cloud. This is an on-premise solution for that, for your file sync and share requirements or end user data protections, right? You've got something called as content intelligence, which is basically a software piece which makes you understand what you got inside your organization, right? What kind of data you've got, how is it frequently accessed, or how old the data is. Do you really need to keep the data with you, or do you want to put some security constraints for that particular data set because it is critical for your organizations? All those aspects can be understood by this piece of software called as Hitachi Content Intelligence. And the last option is basically the content software for file. So there are certain requirements like AI, ML kind of a workload which demands high performance from a data movement standpoint, high throughput kind of a requirement. The HCSF is a solution for that, which is basically an AI, ML kind of a thing, or another example is basically genome sequencing. So there are certain genome sequencing algorithms which needs high throughput of data between your application and the infrastructure. That kind of use case, we use HCSF, right? So from a use case standpoint, traditional use case up to modern use case, everything can be served by this particular platform called Hitachi Content Platform, right? This is the object storage solution what we can offer to customers. Now in a summary,
that is a parallel file system.
this last one is a parallel file system. Yeah, this is a parallel file system, right? Now as a summary, we provide necessary infrastructure, which is basically the storage for different data types, the compute requirements from a converged, hyperconverged or RS standpoint, serving various workloads based on what you need, at the same time deriving outcomes like private cloud, public cloud, big data analytics, as I said, generative AI or what you call the artificial intelligence kind of workload. All these things can be done on the infrastructure, and at the same time the same infrastructure can be provided as an Everflex option from a consumption standpoint. At the same time, Hitachi Vantara also can manage the entire infrastructure for you, which is a fully managed infrastructure for your need.
You also have object on HDFS.
Okay, the S3 kind of connectivity can be offered through I get confused with my HPFS, yes.
So what we basically HCP.
Sorry.
So if you have you have a the DDN kind of storage.
Correct.
And where you want to also keep a data lake kind of.
Right, it can be used for data lake use case.
So that is so
data lake, one is, there are two parts. There is a compute engine for data lake. There is a storage. This can be used for the storage layer and compute the UCP platform what we have seen. So it can be a combination of both.
Okay.
No, I think you didn't get it.
No, I'm just we can discuss this.
Okay, great. Okay, So that brings to my last slide. So Q&A. Any more questions? I mean, those are beautiful questions. Thanks for participating. As yes, sir.
Yeah, my question would be with the recent, step by Broadcom
Yeah.
on the relationship with the
I was
partners.
expecting this.
So,
Okay.
how do you look at, the roadmap for the future if we go for this kind of environment?
Okay. I don't have a single line answer for this, but we have a 22 years of relation with VMware, right? Right from the beginning, we are partner in various forms. We had different levels of partnership, and we have grown far. We are in a position where when we offer the solution to you, irrespective of the changes what is happening at the Broadcom or VMware layer, whatever services we commit to our customers, we offer it to our customer. This is not VMware. We get the technology, definitely we partner for technology, but all the day-to-day activities or whatever challenges you got, initiatives you got, we front end with the customers. So from a customer standpoint, you need not worry. That's point number one. Now the other aspect is, what is the future? I don't find any problem with the future of VMware. We are good in terms of the partnership with VMware and the solution set what they're going to bring in. In fact, very recently they have announced certain changes in terms of the licensing SKUs as well. So we are yet to onboard them, but it is as early as say 3 weeks now. So we will onboard that, and then we'll help customers. So as customers, you need not worry about what is going to happen to VMware. We are front ending it for you.
The reason why I'm asking is,
Yeah.
Hitachi is the service provider for us.
Oh, that's nice. Good to hear. Anything else? I want one question from that side. Oh, there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me go back. Sorry.
So, I just want to ask you one question. In terms
Correct.
of fault tolerance,
Yes.
what guarantee that Hitachi is going to give us?
Good. On which platform?
Any platform. For
Okay.
example,
Let's start from storage.
Yes.
I give you 100% data availability guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I support all the RAID technologies which is available, and on my unstructured data set, that is the block storage, on block and file, on the unstructured I can offer you 15 nines of availability.
Okay.
Right? And you saw something called VSSB, the software defined solution from Hitachi, VSSB.
Yes.
That also gives you erasure coding kind of a technology to offer your to tackle any of your failures.
Okay. So, does Hitachi adapting any sort of test and trial approach in order to test the fault tolerance of the existing setup? It's kind of, if you look at the Netflix, they adopt the chaos monkey to shut down some of the services to see how tolerant they are.
Got it. So we do a lot of R&D from a factory standpoint before releasing these products out, and at the same time we do practical tests in the field as well.
Okay.
Okay, before you move it to production, there are n number of tests what our service engineers go onto the field and do before making it production, rolling it into production. Now there is one video which is, if you can Google it on YouTube or something, which talks about Hitachi's resiliency. So what we did is we called one customer to a factory, and we were running certain applications on the system, and we've asked the customer to pull out whatever you want. Pull out whatever you want from a component standpoint from the storage.
Okay.
So we were able to demonstrate multiple component failures. At the same time, your application was not at all impacted. Application was absolutely fine. I would request you to Google that video on YouTube. Just have a look at it.
Sure.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay, the slide doesn't say, I'll just probably talk about it. So, big data, let's say big data, you're trying to create a big Hadoop cluster. So in Hadoop cluster, basically Hadoop is constructed using compute and internal storage subsystem, basically the disks within this system, and you create a large distributed file system and Hadoop, and then you start using it. So you get a lot of data coming in from various sources. You run all your what do you call AI and ML kind of a work models. You run it on. Once you run it on, what do you do with that storage data set? It's basically lying idle. You need new data sets to come in. You run that model on top of it and derive outcomes from it. What are you going to do with the old ones? So the problem, the challenge what customers are facing is you are expanding the cluster just like that. With the amount of data, I mean you don't have control of data coming in, right? So you expand. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to help customers in tiering that unused data or the old data onto a platform which is offering you the cost of the storage is very minuscule, but at the same time keep it available for further use anytime later. So there's an integration between the cluster, Hadoop cluster, and the underlying object storage, which we call it as HCP, wherein you can move your data sets across. It's kind of a tiering, I would say. Archiving is basically moving it to from one source to other. It's basically a tiering between the data storage within the the clustered file system. Yes. Yes.
So
That's the cloud option. Yes.
yeah, there's the cloud option
Yeah.
in on premises.
Yes.
On premises cloud option. So when you are keeping 15% of that, if we see for most of the cluster storages that we use, either we consider 15% is we often used to keep 15% as a
Okay. I got it.
as a backup. The reason being is that
That is
because
the
benefit-
okay. You're keeping it as backup. I'm keeping it as a spare for future use case, future consumption.
So at the end of the day, the customer is procuring the entire thing as a lot. Out of that, 15% you are keeping there as a separate one.
I'm not charging you for the 50%. As I said, I told you I'm not charging you for the reserve capacity. It is for my usage. When you want to save, say suppose I'm not keeping any reserve, right? You're consuming your capacity and performance for some time, and you hit a roadblock saying that you're at 90%. And then if I go and try to get equipment from built in my factory, ship it, come here, install it, by the time you will reach 100% and you will be impacted. It is a reserve, not for you, not charged for you.
Okay, so the second thing is that whatever components you have shown, what are the license? These are separately licensed or is a combined license, integrated license? How you are going giving
If you buy a solution from as a UCP solution, which is all integrated, one single license. For you, it's just one single cost. I might have 10 licenses within it, but for you, it is one single cost. From start to the end of the contract. You would not, as I said, if it is a cloud, everything is on my books. It's not on your books.
Okay, and the last thing I would like to ask, what is your disposal policy? Because as far as the storage is concerned, we are going through it. Suppose a certain component is damaged, especially the storage device like your disk. We have a retention policy like that because our data is sensitive. We are not sending it outside for whatever reason it is, and we are destroying it in premises.
I know where you're coming from.
I'm from R&D organization, CXO.
R&D, okay, good.
Yeah. So we don't do that because that's our policy, and I think the same policy is followed in all your space centers and defense organization too.
Two solutions, right? Two solutions. One solution where I need your help. The second one is I'll do it myself. One solution is DRO, which is called disk retention option. So if a disk fails, I will not ask you for that faulty disk. And what are you doing? You will have that faulty disk. You can use your own mechanism to dispose that. There's something called degaussing machines. You put the drive in the degaussing machine and it will shatter the entire disk platters, and then it is unusable. That is one way of doing it. And you dispose it following this disposal mechanism. Second one is we bring in as a service. We degauss everything to you and then we take it back. Two options.
What is the price? Is there any cost involved?
There is cost.
Okay, thank you.
There is cost.
Thank you.
Good, thanks for that. Any other question? Or everybody is hungry? Okay, thanks boss. And it was lovely talking to you. Thanks for all your questions. I'm outside here. You can reach out to me for any clarifications. Thank you so much for you.